Welcome back to the 12-Sided Guys. We have Matt playing Pine.
Hi.
Scott playing Roos.
That's me.
Jordan playing Ebby.
Salutations.
Sabrina playing Nari.
Hey there.
And me, Paul, playing High Adjudicator Trippin. They are the quietest opponent our players have ever faced, and yet also the most annoying by far.
The moist annoying.
The moist annoying.
Very moist.
Yeah.
Thanks to our new Discord server, we get to interact with our listeners even more, so go check it out. There's a link in the episode description. People are super excited about what's been happening in the podcast so far, and some of you have even let us know what you'd like to see as far as merch, which is awesome. But if you want to help us out, you can leave a 5-star review and tell your family and friends about us. You can even become a patron by checking out patreon.com/12sidedguys. Tana recently became a patron, and now they have access to the wiki, maps, all of the bonus episodes, and character sheets. So Tana, thank you for becoming a patron, and thank you for introducing me to mead. Anyway, if you ever got kicked out of town for pulling a rusty sword out of a pond, then this podcast is for you. It's the Crystal Codex, episode 64.
But pulling the rusty sword also unleashed some crazy monster that dug a tunnel underneath the city, and then Gemma was like, I'll pull you out after you kill the monster.
Yes, and also all of a sudden, like, yellow rabbits started spinning in circles and attacking you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe they were called Rabbites, too.
Yeah, rabbits.
I'm pretty sure that's the first game I remember, official game, where Moogle was a thing. But it was a condition.
I kept expecting to, like, have the Rabbites be like, Oy vey!
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Nice.
my goodness. All right. A slate roof tile shifts under Trippin's heavy steel sabaton, but they quickly correct, avoiding a cascade of tiles to the ground far below. 30 feet above the courtyard, Trippin's heartbeat pounds erratically, their breath coming in sharp, shallow gulps. On the cobblestones below lies Kippin, the blue-clad, bookish High Adjudicator. Her eyes are now closed, and there is a dark red, almost black sword protruding from her chest. Her breathing seems steady, but that sword will prove a problem. Better to leave it in for now, until I can get Kippin somewhere safe from these enemies, they think to themselves. Scattered around the courtyard, Kippin's attackers attempt to regroup in the wake of Trippin's furious onslaught. What a mess. It had all gone so wrong, almost from the start. The tall, red-haired woman with the axe in hand bore what they were after. Strapped to her back, the pommel of Adjudicator Rulf's sword appeared at her shoulder. It should have been so easy to retrieve, to take it off the corpses of these 4 unbelievers. The clash of bailiff and soldier could be heard in the background, but Kippin and Trippin focused completely on these 4, the obvious champions of the opposing force. Trippin knew what was coming, an explosive wave from Kippin so powerful it would knock all 4 of these warriors to the ground, sucking them in towards a central point. Trippin had seen it enough times to know how devastating it could be. As Kippin readied herself for the opening salvo, Trippin could almost feel the hair on their arms rise with the potential energy waiting to be unleashed. A bugling call from their flank caused Trippin to turn just as a beautiful Alaton came pounding out from behind the barracks of the castle. Its fur was an ombre of green to pink to purple, and the horn from its nose glistened with the sparkle of crystal. It charged Kippin, a trifling thing in reality, but a threat that she felt needed to be addressed. Trippin felt the energy of the spell dissipate as Kippin drew her fine longsword and cut down the animal with one slash. Battle had begun, and Kippin was soon surrounded. Now, mere moments later, Trippin crouches on the roof of Taybury Castle's Great Hall as their opponents devise plans to counter Trippin's tactics. Around them, the other battle rages as well. Lightning crackles as a bearded warrior takes down one bailiff, and a large man gores another as he charges across the battlefield. A third small man lays into bailiffs with an ornate mace, laughing as he swings. But that fight is not over either, as bailiffs swarm over constables and castle guards alike, hewing them down with sweeps of their greatswords alight with the flame of judgment. Trippin fears that their own battle has become a stalemate. Their opponents can't land a solid hit, and luckily all of the magical attempts to halt Trippin's movements have failed. But Trippin has failed to land any truly meaningful blows as well. Trippin's plans have changed. The sword of Adjudicator Rulf is now secondary to the urge, the need to rescue Kippin from this unforeseen predicament. Trippin cannot imagine life without Kippin. Without her, Trippin would be nothing. Trippin has to get Kippin out of here, not only to save her life, but to save their own as well. Trippin readies themselves for the coming moments, knowing that they have one last trick up their sleeve.
Boo!
A trick up their sleeve.
I do take offense that no serious blows have been given since I'm literally about to die. But all right, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to dead too.
Well, how many times have you been knocked unconscious?
No, I didn't go down, but
Yeah,
I'm
nobody
very,
went
very,
down.
very close.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
All right. Well, here is where we are. We are in the courtyard of Taybury's castle. We have in the middle of the courtyard, we have Ebby standing kind of in the middle by the well. We have a unicorn right in the smack dab in the middle of the courtyard. We have Lord Radriel's companion, the handsome Squidward fey creature, standing a little bit north of the fallen body of Kippin, the High Adjudicator, in the blue robes with the spectacles on her face, who was taken down quite early in this battle. Pine is a little bit further to the east, and then way back, almost by the gatehouse, we have Nari and Roos and Squire. Trippin has been bouncing all around this battlefield, and you can tell by how spread out this battle is. If you look at one end, one corner, the southeast corner, we have Nari and Roos and Squire, and at the very far northwest corner, we have Koenig's Estok, all the way over there, pretty much out of the fight at this point in time. And this is where we are. The last thing that happened was Trippin jumped into the middle, took a slash at Roos and took a slash at Nari, missing both times, then teleported back up onto the roof of the Great Hall. And it is now Ebby's turn. Ebby, what are you going to do? You're right in the middle of the courtyard by the well.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. Ebby is going to go ahead and drop concentration on Lord Radriel and say, Lord Radriel, your assistance is no longer needed. To which Lord Radriel will reply, ta-ta for now. Ooh. and and then Ebby will go ahead and cast Heat Metal on Trippin on their armor.
Brutal. Okay, so what does Trippin need to do?
So there is no save for this. It just says choose a manufactured metal object, such as a metal weapon or a suit of heavy or medium metal armor that you can see within range. Range is 60 feet. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage when you cast the spell. Until the spell ends, I can use a bonus action on each of my subsequent turns to cause this damage again. If the creature is holding or wearing the object and takes the damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of your next turn.
Nice.
Okay. All right, why don't you go ahead and roll your 2d8 damage.
All right, let's...
No saving throw.
Okay, so 7 fire damage.
Okay. You can see this dark armor with all these spikes. It's like a dark gray, spiky shoulder pads, a big fur cloak on it. You can actually see the armor start to brighten as it starts to turn a cherry red as it warms up around Trippin's body. Anything else Ebby's going to do?
No, that is it for Ebby's turn.
Okay. All right. That brings us now to Pine. Pine, you are also down by Kippin's downed body, a little bit further east of the unicorn. And you can see Trippin up on the Great Hall roof as well.
Okay, so Pine looks like Nari's about 10 feet from him. So Pine will move the 10 feet. He'll put his hand on Nari's shoulder and give her 30 points of Commander's morale.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh, nice.
And he'll say, "Come on, Nari, let's go back to back." And then he will move back over by Kippin. And he uses action to give the commander's morale, so he can't really prepare an attack. But the idea here would be to kind of surround potential targets and ready attacks.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool.
And for my bonus action, I'm going to move Koenig's Estok 20 feet closer.
Okay. Perfect.
And now it's kind of over on the northwest corner of the well. So still far away from the action.
But coming closer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's Pine's turn.
Okay. Nari, you, probably feeling reinvigorated, are up.
Yes, Nari is feeling so much better, and she is going to run and kind of meet Pine, like he said, sort of side to side, back to back. And then she's going to ready an action. If Trippin gets anywhere near her, she is going to strike with her axe.
Okay. That brings us now back up to the top of the round with Kippin's turn, which is she is stable with a cursed sword sticking out of her chest. And that brings us now to Roos.
Roos is going to run to Kippin's side, and Squire is going to follow him. So the two of them are going to stand over her body.
Okay.
Roos is going to put his hand on the hilt of the sword that's sticking into her and say, "If you don't surrender, I will remove this sword, and she will die." And that is my readied action. If they do not surrender, then Roos will remove the sword.
Whew. Okay. Amarok's turn, and then it's Trippin's turn next.
I think I'm gonna have Amarok try to dash up and get as close to Trippin as possible.
Okay.
And then I think it'll probably, because Trippin is, some 30 feet above the ground on the top of the building, I'm guessing it will probably take a move and a dash to get all the way up there.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right.
I think I'll just do that. Just get Amarok up there.
Okay. So Amarok is up on top of the Great Hall roof. It is now Trippin's turn. Trippin has disadvantage on all skill checks and attack rolls. Oh, golly. Trippin is feeling still relatively confident. Trippin is going to teleport to right over Kippin's body.
So does that trigger my ready to action?
That will trigger your ready to action. It will also trigger Roos's ready to action if he's going to pull the sword.
Will Kippin still have to make death saves?
So Kippin will have to start making death saves. It will count as an attack because you're reopening the wound that had already been stabilized. So
Okay.
We'll say that it's an automatic. We'll just say it's hard to say. We'll say it's one automatic fail by pulling the sword out, and then she has to start making saves again.
Okay. Yeah, so Roos will pull out the sword.
Okay.
All right, and Nari will hit for an 18 to hit.
That will barely hit, I do believe.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
So that is a 15 damage, and I will make them make a wisdom save. And I think it's DC 13. It is, yeah.
They rolled a 12, which is with a +7, that's a 19.
Okay,
+7 wisdom save?
that's
You guys are fighting So here's the deal. Wow. When you guys fought Rulf had been an adjudicator for like a day, basically. When you guys fought Ulrich, I mean, he was pretty powerful, but he was fighting alongside kind of some scrubs. You and I are fighting an adjudicator, well, two adjudicators who have been adjudicators for years. They have been training and doing this job for a long time. These are tough people.
all right. Well, I'm gonna come in again then for a 17 to hit. I will definitely do a precision attack.
Well, then that's going to automatically hit.
Sweet. Okay, 16 damage.
Oh my gosh.
And I will again try to make them do a wisdom saving throw and have them bow down.
That's a 12 +7 is a 19. Same roll.
Eventually, you'll roll a low number. Like
Eventually, I will roll a low number.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Here is what they are going to do. Oh gosh. First off, let me make one check. Okay. Here comes an attack against Nari. That is going to be a 19 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay. That will be 2d6 plus 4d8 plus 5, which is going to be 29 damage.
Man, that is not kind.
And then, Nari, another swing at you. That is going to be okay. That's only going to be a 12 to hit.
That does not hit.
Yeah, and Trippin is going to look around and is going to stay right where they are.
Woo!
All right, Ebby, it is your turn.
All right. Let's kick this thing off by doing the bonus action, kind of proccing the heat metal thing, to kind of see what the damage will be.
Okay.
So 9 fire damage, and then with Ebby's action, I mean, he wants to just go hog wild and try to kill this guy more. But I think he's gonna, instead, he's gonna kind of move around over here to Nari and then do an Urdas's touch with a 2nd level spell slot on her.
Touch me.
To heal her. Oh yeah, this was great. That's one of my best heals I think I've ever done in the game. So 19 points of healing for Nari.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
And then everybody gets an extra 5 because of the totem.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay.
That's lovely.
Feeling great. 10 out of 10.
Oh, man.
Would do again every time.
All right.
All right, and that's it for Ebby.
Okay, fine. It is your turn.
Okay. Well, I think actually that Koenig's S-Talk is exactly within range at this point to come 20 feet in. Yep. And take a strike against Trippin. So let's see. An 18 to hit
That will hit.
for 8 force damage.
Okay.
And then Pine is going to attack them twice with his officer's saber. First is,
Come on, Pine.
it's an 11!
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So just so everybody's aware, I get to add 7 to my rolls. So when I keep rolling 11s and 9s, that's 2s and 4s on the 20-sided die.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, second chance. This is going to happen this time. A 19 to hit.
That
Roll
will
20
hit.
just knows you're too powerful.
Okay, so I'm going to do 9 damage, and I'm going to say, Unleash with precision, Swordmaster's Fury! And do an additional 2 swipes for an additional 10 damage. That's 19 damage total on that strike.
Okay. Trippin is looking rough.
Okay.
You see like a pauldron has come askew. The cape has been totally cut off. They are kind of staggering back. They're still standing over Kippen in a protective position, but definitely leaning down on on their knee as they are struggling under the weight of all these blows.
Okay. All right, so I guess it's leaving it up to Nari and Roos, because that's my turn.
Well, Nari, it is your turn.
All right, Nari is going to come in, hopefully hard, with her axe. It'd be really nice if their own Adjudicator's axe killed him. For a 25 to hit,
Oh, yes.
and that is, oh my god, okay, 12 damage. And then I am
And
going.
How about you tell me what happens?
Oh,
man.
nice. Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh,
Okay,
jeez.
so Nari is going to use their own axe that these people were so excited to get, and she is going to come in just with a huge swing and hit Trippin right across the face, and they are going to fall down dead. There is no kindness.
Okay. Trippin crumples to the ground, dead. Armor glowing red still from Ebby's spell. Anything else that Nari is going to do? You have Kippen bleeding out on the ground in front of you.
Yeah, actually, Nari will finally get to use Lady Barbariel's gift, like her stabilizing spell. And
Is that
she
an
will.
action or is it bonus action?
Oh, it is an action.
Okay.
I only did half of my action.
Well, you can still make another swing.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Hauling off and swinging at Ebby.
No, okay, Nari will sheathe her axe and just kind of stand back then.
All right. That brings us now to Kippen's turn. Kippen is going to make a death saving throw. A 15. That is a 1 failure and 1 success. Roos. is your turn.
Roos is going to kneel down and restrain her, and then pull Gigi out of his pocket with a rope.
Okay.
And pull Gigi out of his pocket and say, Gigi, give her one of your potions. And he's going to bring her back to life.
Ooh. How many hit points are you going to give her?
With 6 hit points.
Her eyes flutter open. She is now bound. And we are going to end initiative. Cue victory music.
I didn't think that was going to happen. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a lot more stressful. I've been thinking about it all week.
Dude, me too.
No.
Well, there were 2 options. I'll just peek behind the screen. There were 2 options. There was Trippin thought, and I thought Trippin could handle 1 round of attacks from you guys. I thought that they could handle it. But no, they could not handle it at all. You guys whittled them down so fast from like 29 hit points gone all the way down to all hit points gone. So the next round would have been grabbing Kippen and casting Dimension Door. But that did not happen. Here we are in the middle of the courtyard of Taybury Castle. You can still hear some fighting going on around you as the guards and as the constables are fighting against the bailiffs. You can hear Brinby his roars as he comes charging across, hitting people with his maul. You can hear zapping of lightning and crashing of thunder, but you can also hear that battle is also kind of tapering off as calls are made by the constables and the guards to surrender now, or you'll die like your brethren. And you hear the sound of swords being thrown down. And as you look around the courtyard, you can see that there are quite a few fallen constables and palace guards. You can see that Brinby and Brioc and Hebo all have blood on them in multiple places. And you can see dead bailiffs. And there are 2 bailiffs who have surrendered. All the rest of them lie in pools of their own blood.
Are these the bailiffs that we captured before? These they got freed? Are they the exact same ones?
As a matter of fact, it is. It's the only 2 named bailiffs that I have besides Bailiff Fern.
That's fantastic.
No, I'm just kidding. Sure, why not? It's the same bailiffs. Okay, you guys are standing here in the middle of the courtyard, and you can see Kippen is laying there struggling against her bonds, but she is also very fatigued. She has some levels of exhaustion at this point, and she is lying there. What are you guys going to do? She is cursing your name. As she struggles against the bonds.
Ebby is going to kind of walk over and kind of leer over her. And I think at this point, probably in the midst of all the action, the disguise self attribute that he was given as part of his kind of blessing from Lord Moshe has slipped. And he's just a deacon. You know, he just looks like an Ormec right now. And he's just glaring down at her and he's like, this usurper, this blasphemer against all of nature needs to be judged now. We should put her down once and for all.
I think Nari will kind of like put a hand over on Ebby and be like, I think this is something Queen Kira gets to decide, not us.
He doesn't even respond. Ebby is just kind of like fuming, just staring at her. Like he wants to like call up a bonfire right under her body and have it be done right now.
Nari kind of nudges Roos. Talk to him.
Roos will bend down and grab the book from her.
Okay.
And say, if there's something you want to burn, you could burn this, I guess.
You see Kippen's eyes go wide, and she says, No, you can't do that. You mustn't.
Why? What's so important about this book?
It's my badge of office. Without it, we can't make another adjudicator in my place.
Oh, well, that seems great. Yeah, Ebby. Utilize this.
Ebby will hold it, and he will say, let's chalk this up to just another adjudicator that we have put out of commission. And he'll stuff it into his satchel.
Okay. You're not going to burn it then?
No, not right now.
We are not pro burning books in this podcast, just so you know.
Even though Ebby is starting to act a little bit like a fascist.
A little bit. He's kind of dipping his toe a little bit. It's a little scary. But he's also a hardcore opportunist, and so he's all like, I'm not going to burn this. I could sell this for lots of money.
We can at least learn what it has to say.
Is Trippin still sizzling, or is heat metal gone off?
Heat metal will have dropped at this point.
Okay. Pine will actually bend down and kind of just check over Trippin's body to see if they have any other weapons on them. I want to keep Kippin away from Trippin in case there's anything that she could use to free herself. And I'll also collect Trippin's sword.
Roos is going to count on his fingers. 1, 2, 3. I think that means we're holding 4 open positions of adjudicators right now.
Her eyes kind of go wide again. She says, You have Ulrich's axe? And she looks around.
We didn't go about trying to, collect adjudicators' weapons. It just kind of happened.
It's become a hobby of ours.
We're going to get matching tattoos of all the weapons.
Come to think of it, I've seen tattoos of the weapons before. Kippin, we've kept you alive so that you can face judgment. The judgment of a sovereign nation, not one that's been unlawfully taken upon oneself, like you tried to inflict upon our nation.
She does love judgment. She should be stoked about that.
Her jaw is set. She looks over at Trippin, and you can see a tear in her eye as she looks back over at you, and she says, You do not have authority to judge me. As you are having this conversation, Kira comes over to you. She's using her crutch. You can see, I forgot to describe her in the battle. She was fighting as well. She is cleaning off her rapier, kind of on her pants, and putting it away as she comes over with her crutch. And she says, so these are the adjudicators who came and caused so much trouble in my city.
Pine's kind of pulling at his collar and is like, well, we did escalate things as well, but I won't say that out loud.
I will have her locked up, and we will try her and judge her the appropriate way. And then she calls over for some of the constables who are still alive. She waves them over and she says, Take her to the oubliette. Drop her in. Put out the torches in the room. No light for her.
I'd have her gagged as well, sister. I don't want her to be able to cast any spells that just have a verbal element.
She does seem very tricksy.
Yeah, she's so she actually Kira bends over and plucks the spectacles off of her face. All right. And then these 2 constables come over and they grab this adjudicator, this high adjudicator who has caused some problems here in town, and they start dragging her out of the city. She is weak and she is struggling, but they have her under control.
I'm going to be honest. Nari is a little bit worried because she's really cute and she doesn't really want Kira around this person too much. Man, stressing me out.
You've known Kira long enough to recognize that she is in full-on queen mode right now, rage and anger, and but also this very calculated, precise coldness that you have seen before.
Yes, queen.
Yeah, right now. Just wait.
Have you ever has that ever been projected at Nari? That gaze?
No, I do not think so. Not yet.
Okay. Just wanted to figure that'd be a fun thing to figure out. All right. So Kippin is actually dragged out. You can see that Beatrice, the butler, she has now come out of the Great Hall. She is gathering some other servants to help with some of the wounded and tend to wounds. And Brinby and Brioch and Hebo are also kind of helping out as much as they can. And the 4 of you with Squire and Kira are now here with a sexy unicorn standing right next to Trippin's dead body. Who grabbed the sword of Trippin?
Pine did.
Roos still has a Kippin sword.
I gotcha.
Man, these swords look suspicious. Ebby, you should check them.
I was going to say, I think I will go ahead and cast Detect Magic right now, for the heck of it.
All right. Well, that is probably for the best. Okay. here is what you find. As you are casting that spell and Kippen is being dragged away, you can see there is a glow coming from the glasses, the spectacles in Kira's hand. You can also see that the breastplate that that Kippen is wearing, it seems thin, and it seems too thin to be effective armor, but you can see it glowing as they kind of drag her away, and it kind of gaps underneath, like as her robes kind of open. You can see the breastplate that she's wearing is glowing with some kind of magical potential, some kind of like abjuration magic, I think.
I'm gonna quickly yell out and be like, "Hold! She's got magical armor on."
You also see that Trippin, obviously Trippin's greatsword is magical as well. And you can see that as far as Trippin is concerned, Trippin's armor looks very well made, but it does not glow with that magical essence.
Okay. What about Kippin's sword?
Kippin's sword is not magical. Kippin's sword was just a very nicely made long sword, but Kippin's weapon, as you guys have already inferred, is the book and not the sword.
Hence the tattoo of the book with the sword bookmark.
Exactly.
Okay.
So are you going to take Kippin's armor off of her?
Yes. Yeah, we will do that.
All right. So the constables kind of hold her down as they strip this armor off of her. As they pull it off, it seems it's almost, I mean, it is definitely made of metal, but it's thin, like a almost like a shirt, like a solid shirt. It's not thick like you would expect a breastplate. And as it's pulled off, you can see that it's very, very shiny. And it almost shines as much as Nari's armor does. You recognize mithril, but this is also magical.
Kira, shield your eyes. You don't want to see whatever's underneath there.
Jeez.
The constables are very careful to keep her fully clothed and draped.
I mean, this is a Super Nintendo era game. They're not going to show nudity.
The triangle boobs, or like cone boobs.
Like super pixelated.
I'm picturing the fairies from Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, with the laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes. Unnecessarily sexy, in my opinion.
Ridiculous.
I think that describes most video games. Unnecessarily sexy.
Yes. All right. Well, very good. So then that is dropped kind of at your feet, and then they drag Kippen off. And Kira says, kind of under her breath, "Well, it seems we have one fire under control. Now to deal with the other that has been smoldering."
So I want to go back to 2 episodes ago when Nari found out about the Stone Horsemen, some rumors, right, about the other kingdoms abdicating to Arkelvy. Nari, did you ever share that with the rest of us?
Yeah, no, I definitely did. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick recap in case you guys have forgotten, because it has been a little bit since we talked about that. What Nari had heard, and it was actually earlier today, is that she learned this from the barkeep of the Stone Horsemen Inn. They're here in town, but that the nation of Terran's protectorate, their high marshal had been killed in an attack, and that the protectorate had voted to ally with Arkelvy, become subject to them, and become their own duchy. And now it is called Terran's Duchy, subject to King Tenor of Arkelvy. So with that move, Arkelvy effectively almost tripled in size, and their population grew quite a bit. Not doubled or anything, but it definitely grew quite a bit.
Yeah, we cannot trust Arkelvy.
No, I anticipate they were attempting the same thing here, but luckily, Roos and Nari was here to save you.
It was mostly Nari. I didn't do a ton.
Nari, now's your chance. Kiss her. Don't be stupid. Kiss her. What are you waiting for?
Kira is pretending not to hear you, Pine, because you're doing that thing like Dad used to do.
Yes.
So here, real quick, we got to explain something. My dad, love him to death.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting at a band concert in like 7th grade or whatever, my dad was there, and he's sitting next to us in the bleachers, and he says, "Hey, what about that girl down there? She's pretty cute." And we're like, "Dad, she can hear you." And he's like, "No, she can't." And then you see the girl kind of look back over her shoulder, and it's like, "Thanks, Dad." Like that's kind of how I picture Pine. That's what's happening with Pine and Kira and Nari at this point.
That's
It's
fantastic.
like that TikTok sound where it's like, why don't you just call Taylor up? Why don't you just call Taylor up and ask her?
Oh man. All right. So Kira, Kira says, "Why don't you all clean up and rest up, and then come back to the castle, and we will discuss what to do with Arkelvy." And then she looks at you, Roos, and she says, "Unless, of course, you're leaving again."
Well, I think that's the plan. But we'll talk about it. Let me get cleaned up and we'll discuss it.
She puts her hand on your shoulder, Roos, and she says, "If nothing else, I would appreciate your wisdom and your insight before you leave."
It's funny describing me with those words, but I'll give you what I do think about the situation. But yeah, I do think I will be leaving soon.
Okay. All right. I want everyone to make perception checks.
Do we? Sorry, I don't remember. Where did we leave the ambassador of Arkelvy exactly?
The ambassador of Arkelvy was at the gatehouse a few episodes ago, trying to get in to, quote, like, give condolences to Kira or whatever, to make sure she was okay. And then when the castle guards let you in and did not let him in, then he went off in a huff. Now, that was actually yesterday. Then that last night, Nari, you had gone to the Stone Horsemen and you had found out that they were still staying there. And you were talking with the barkeep there. So as far as you know, they're at the Stone Horsemen. This is like I don't know, probably 10 o'clock in the morning at this point.
Gotcha. Okay. So maybe heading over to the Stone Horsemen might be the move.
If you guys are ready for another fight.
Well, it might be the move, but again, we'd want to consult with Kira. It sounded like she needed a little bit of time, and honestly, I think that we could use a little time as well.
A little snooze.
Yes, just like an hour. Clean up.
I'd love some time to look over Kippin's book here.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested in Trippin's sword.
And maybe look over this. Yeah, I was going to say, and maybe look over, and Ebby will kick the corpse of Trippin laying on the ground. Look over this one's armor a little bit. Looks pretty neat.
Actually, that's why I had you make perception checks. And Ebby, it looks like you scored a natural 20 on your perception.
I did. I got a natural 20 for a 25.
I got a 7.
Well, as you okay, as you kick the body of Trippin, your foot hits the armor, and you can tell this is like a dark gray, smoky, kind of intricate and well-made armor. But as you kick it, you can tell this is not steel, and you instantly know with your natural 20, this is actually adamantine.
Whoa!
This is adamantine plate armor.
My goodness.
And so in game rules, adamantine, it doesn't increase the effectiveness of the armor. It just means that you cannot be crit on if you're wearing that armor.
Technically, that's what Pine's armor, his Menary's officer's jacket, is an adamantine breastplate.
Would have been really cool if we had crit at all to know that, but alas.
Yes. All right.
Yes, it's very nice. I bet it sells for a lot of money.
I wonder if we could get it resized to fit Nari.
Ooh.
I would look pretty good in that.
You'd look hella tight.
Wearing an Adjudicator's armor and carrying an Adjudicator's axe. And sword, apparently, too. Why not?
When we get it resized, maybe we could get it, just to alter the look a little bit, like we did with the axe and everything. I'm thinking...
If we want to become evil, we could just be our own gang of Adjudicators.
It's what we've been gearing up for this whole time.
I'm just throwing ideas out there.
I was thinking we could cut the armor in half, and I could go for another piece of half plate. Huh?
I mean, if nothing else, we need to get these weapons someplace safe, because I doubt that Trippin and Kippin were the only ones seeking them. If there's other adjudicators still alive, I'm sure that they wouldn't mind having their hands on them too, even if they're not as searching as actively for them.
That's a very valid point. I would recommend we stay here as opposed to over at the keggery.
Right. And I'm also thinking maybe one of our next steps should be if we could visit that master blacksmith up in the mountains, the tall hot fella. Maybe he could alter the look a little bit for us. See if he could help us make better use of these, because, I mean, now at this point, we have 2 Adjudicator greatswords, and I don't think any of us are really keen to start using a greatsword. It's a bit heavy for me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Kira can definitely get you some rooms here at the castle if that's what you want to do. That is not a problem. And you guys can like take a rest, or you guys can go, kind of wherever you want to. But Kippen is being taken away, and then some of the other constables and servants are coming to grab Trippin's body to take it away as well. Are you going to take the armor off of Trippin's body before they do?
I mean, I think we should.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're doing it, you're all like, finders keepers. That's the rule.
I thought it was killers keepers.
Again, Pine is trying to be a little bit reverent with it. So, like, here was a fierce combatant, an opponent, but at least some respect in death as we strip them completely naked.
I'm picturing you reverently standing there as we're just rummaging horrifically over this corpse.
Yeah.
Like just tearing things off, whipping things over our shoulder.
Stuffing it full of rocks again. Why not?
I'm thinking back to Adjudicator Ulrich, where it's like taking off his magical armor, and then you're like, let's take his helmet too. And we're like, no, let's leave him some dignity. And then I just pictured this big, giant, naked dude laying on the ground dead with a horned helmet covering his junk.
See? Dignified.
That was going to be my question.
Or not.
So you're going to take Trippin's armor. What about Trippin's helmet?
Yes.
You are going to take Trippin's helmet as well. Okay. I will say this. With plate armor, stat-wise, the helmet has to be used with the plate to get the full effect. If that makes any sense. I'm going to be a butt about it.
Okay.
You start stripping Trippin of their armor. As you strip Trippin of their armor...
Trippin?
You're stripping Trippin.
Nice.
As you are stripping Trippin, you actually see that the skin is like pink and blistered from the heat metal spell. And as you remove the helmet, you see a face, short hair, shorn. You can see lifeless eyes, and you see a face that is very similar to Kippin's. A little bit thicker jaw. The hair is different, obviously. The facial structure is a little bit different, but definitely resembles Kippen quite a bit.
Perhaps they were siblings.
Like siblings?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You guys, they take Trippin's body away, and you now have this adamantine plate. You have this gleaming mithril breastplate of some kind, and you have a magical greatsword and a book. You guys, are you guys going to go take a rest?
Yeah, I don't think I need a room, though. I think I'm just going to kind of sit in the audience chambers.
Okay.
And if it's cool with everybody, I'd like to look over this sword, try to gather some of its properties. And I don't think we've ever done that with Rulf's sword either, if somebody wants to take a look at Rulf's.
Yes, I can do that, actually. I'd accompany you as well, Pine.
Okay.
I'll be along shortly. I've got something I want to do in town.
Nari wants to take a rest. She's not feeling as good as she could be. So, she will definitely take that room and take a little snooze.
All right. You can actually, if you want to, you can take one of these other magical things, and like the breastplate. You can examine that while you get your short rest. That should be fine.
Okay, then yeah, definitely, I will do that.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Pine and Ebby and Nari, you kind of you kind of go your separate ways. Ebby and Pine, you go into the Great Hall. And you kind of sit in this big, large, open area. Pine and Ebby, you will be spending this time as you rest looking at this weapon, these two weapons. Who has Trippin's sword and who has Rulf's sword?
Pine has Trippin's sword.
Okay, very good. All right. And then Nari, you have the breastplate. And then let's see, Roos, what are you going to do in town as you make your way out of the castle? The guards at the castle gate, they open the gate for you and they salute you as you walk by. Some of them are still kind of bloodied from the battle, but these are definitely the two guards here at the gatehouse. These are two that managed to make it through the battle with the bailiffs relatively unscathed.
Roos will salute them and walk. Just keep walking past. He's feeling very conflicted, and he's going to go to the temple.
The healing god?
Yeah. Now, this is a question for you as the DM, Paul.
Yes.
Are there any priests in Taybury?
Priest of Erdos? Or the Lord of Healing? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are. As a matter of fact, there was one who helped way back at the hanging in Taybury gallows.
That's where Roos is headed.
Okay, so if you look at the map of Taybury, there is a shrine to Erdos that is down in the south west corner, and it is relatively small. You guys have been in a temple of Erdos in the city of Arkelvy. This is basically the same floor plan, only like scaled down one size. You enter through one door, and as you go through the center of the temple, it's like there's statues of Erdos in the temple, and then there's these little rooms or alcoves on either side with curtained openings so that the patients who are in those beds healing and being healed, they can look out and see a statue or a representation of Erdos wherever they are in the building. And then there is an exit on the opposite end of the building. There's also one extra large statue of Erdos there in the center of the building. And you have met the priest of Erdos before, because at the Taybury Gallows, she actually healed one of you before she went off to go and help with the villagers or the townsfolk who were rioting. And as you go into the shrine, you can see the lights are kind of low. You can smell the smell of incense. You see these statues of Erdos as you go down kind of the nave of this temple, these smaller statues. And in the middle, there is a larger statue of Erdos. And I'm pretty sure that the statue has like flame in one hand, like the healing flame of Erdos. And you hear some coughing and some just kind of general moans and that kind of thing from a few people who are here in the shrine. But you do see the priest, who, I don't know if you've met her since then, but her name is Lita. And she is in the center of the temple, or of the shrine, by the large statue of Erdos.
Roos will walk up to her and say, "It's been a while, but it's good to see you again, priest."
She looks at you, she bows, and she says, "I'm not sure what to call you anymore, but it is an honor to have you here in the shrine of Erdos. Are you in need of healing?"
I am in need of healing, and you can just call me Roos. I'm just Roos. Okay. Yeah, it says just Roos right here. I've got it.
And she says, she's
embroidered on my shirt.
on your vest.
That's right.
She says, "And you can call me Lita."
Okay. Lita, I need to be rid of these swords. And I've been cursed. I thought I would be able to make it through and fulfill this promise that I made, but I can't do it. I can't do it that way.
Are you like holding them out, or are they still at your waist, or what?
They're sheathed right now.
They're sheathed. She looks at them, and she kind of looks at you, gives you a little questioning nod as she kind of starts reaching towards them. Like, "Are you okay if I touch these?"
Yeah, you can touch them.
Okay. She reaches towards the one on your right hip, and her hand gets about 2 inches away from the handle, and you can see her close her eyes, and suddenly she pulls her hand back as if she's been burnt. And she says, That is a powerful curse."
Yeah. Tell me about it.
She says, it's beyond my ability to heal. There are those of my order who serve Lord Erdos that can remove this curse, but I'm afraid I am not powerful enough.
Okay.
But yes, I think it very wise for you to rid yourself of these foul implements of fiendishness or something.
Yeah. So, since you didn't heal me, do I go out that exit or the one back there?
She actually puts her hand on your shoulder, and then she's going to heal you of some of your damage. She's going to heal you for actually she does 13 plus 3. She has 16 healing to you.
Oh, cool. That's great.
You get a message from Pine through Squire, because we're still kind of connected. It's like, if you're at the Temple of Erdos, can you pick up some more of that prostate medication that I got in Arkelvy?
Oh man.
And Lita, while I'm here, My friend, Mr. Pine, he says there's a cream that you give him.
It's for a friend. It's for a friend.
She reaches it. She reaches into because the statue of Erdos, the big one, is kind of built up on this, basically like for lack of a better term, it's built on top of like an apothecary's shelf that's made out of stone, like the apothecary cabinet. She reaches into one of the alcoves and she pulls out this little ointment and she hands it to you and she says, "I can't tell you who this is for because of HIPAA guidelines, but here you go. I'm sure your friend gets this."
Lady HIPAA being the lady of privacy in medical issues.
Exactly.
The medical privacy.
Exactly. Lady HIPAA. Okay. Yes. So and then she kind of motions you out. She says, I'm very sorry, Rus, that I could not be of greater help. I'm sure that there are those in larger temples that would be able to help you more than I can."
Okay. Well, sometimes...
It is the temple size that matters.
Well, and actually, so here's the deal. Here in Taybury is not a large city. This is just a shrine to Erdos, not a full-blown temple. And behind the screen, the only servant of Erdos here in town who actually has the ability to do any kind of healing is Lita. The other people who work here and who help out, these other acolytes of Erdos, are just lay people who help with medicines and, splints and that kind of thing.
Well, it's a level 3 spell, too.
Remove curse?
Yeah.
We'll say it's a level 3 spell for the majority of curses, yes.
Okay.
This is just a heads up. This was a deity's swords that you took, and not just one of them, but 2 of them. So anyway. Yeah. It's all good.
Rus is impulsive.
No. All right. Very good. So Rus, you're going to start heading back towards the castle.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pine, you have in your hand this greatsword, and as you are holding it, you get the impression that Trippin's greatsword is what this weapon is called. It is a greatsword. You do get a +1 bonus to attack and damage with this magic weapon. Additionally, on each of your turns, you can do one of the following things that you never got to see because Trippin was always acting independently because Kippin went down so fast. Okay. Number 1, if you choose to, immediately after you use the attack action with your sword, you can make one creature within 60 feet of you use their reaction to make one weapon attack. Okay? So that's not like use the attack action, but that's one attack. Okay. Or
is that unlimited times?
That's unlimited times.
Okay.
You have to use if you attack with the weapon, you can then enable one creature. This is not a bonus action or anything. You can just say you can use your reaction right now to make one swing. Okay. If you have that sword and you are attuned to it and you take the dash action, you can look at somebody within 60 feet of you and you can say you can use your reaction to dash. And the same thing with the dodge action. If you take the dodge action, somebody within 60 feet of you can use their reaction to dodge as well.
Oh, man.
Ebby, as you hold Rulf's greatsword in your hands, I think you feel a special kinship with this blade. Ebby, this sword that you're holding, you have a sense of anger and brashness and flame and aggressiveness, and you are holding in your hands a flame-tongue greatsword.
Oh, if only Ebby used greatswords.
Oh, that sounds lit.
So the flame tongue greatsword is amazing. It is not a +1 weapon, so it's just a normal to hit. But you can, as a bonus action, you can speak the command word to make it erupt in flames, and then it lights up a 40-foot radius around you. And also, when you hit with it, when it is on fire, you deal an extra 2d6 fire damage, and then the flames will last on the sword until you use a bonus action to either turn it off, or if you drop the sword, or you put it in its sheath.
Ooh, I bet Nari will like this.
I didn't know she smoked. That's a huge lighter.
I smoke. I haven't had a cigar in years, though. Mostly because Matt forgot that was part of my character.
All right. And And Nari, as you are kind of taking a rest, chilling, get your feet up, and you're holding this breastplate in your hand, you're kind of examining it, looking it over, seeing if it would work for you. You definitely can tell that this is mithril. It's very, very light. You could probably wear it underneath clothing, and it is also magical. You are holding a +1 mithril breastplate. A mithril breastplate that also adds +1 to your AC.
Nice. I do love me some mithril armor. That seems like a great thing. I think Nari will actually just slip that on for fit.
All right, so we'll have to look up the stats for that and see how it affects your character. The other thing that happens as you guys are sitting here resting and trying to kind of like gather your thoughts before everything kind of goes crazy again, as it always does when you guys are together. Ebby.
Yes.
You are pondering this sword, and just as you kind of get the idea of what it is, you hear a voice in your head that you have not heard for a long time. In fact, I think the only time we talked about this a little bit out of game, I think the only time you've heard this voice in the last 5 years has been an occasional sobbing or muttering, but nothing intelligible. You hear Niam's voice. You put too much faith in him, you know.
What? Arnium? Is that you?
You cannot trust like you do.
What? Trust who? Trust Pine? Roos?
Moshe and his pet fox, Amarok.
What? Ebby kind of looks over to Amarok, who is, I think, just curled up in the corner for the moment.
And Amarok has no clue that this is going on right now.
Yeah. What do you mean I can't trust them?
I, too, put my faith in the divine, in the unbelievably powerful beings that sometimes call Pavantis home. Alas, it was all for naught. Moshe's inspiration brought about the crystal engine, but Moshe's touch tainted it. Of course it would. He exemplifies growth. I was a fool to believe anything touched by him would ever stop growing. Life unrestrained becomes cancer. I should have foreseen that possibility.
I mean, I can feel that he's grown wild, more wild than he was before. But to imply that I can't trust him, I mean, he trusted me. He's tasked me with this.
He trusted me as well. You are not Moshe's first avatar.
I think that revelation, I don't know that Ebby would know, like, or have words to respond to that. But I think he would immediately be like, that's true. And at the same time, it kind of floors him a little bit of like, what happened to the others?
Niam goes on. Your efforts to wake up our people have been valiant, and I commend you. But I fear now it is a lost cause. You awaken them into a doomed world. You introduce them back into some semblance of life that will all too soon be cut short. Is that cruel? Is it better to let them sleep on?
No, I feel that it is not cruel to have them experience life, what little it may even be. I know the odds are against us, but I don't know what odds there are that we may be able to succeed and bring some semblance of balance back to this world. Niam, if there is a way that it can be done, will you help me?
Niam responds to you and answers your question, but you get the impression that Niam is again talking to himself. So, my attempts to save Pavantis didn't work, but like all good researchers, I must learn from my failed experiments. So the question is not if the inevitable was delayed, but why it was delayed. Was it the crystal engine and its bandage? Or was it something else? Things kind of get quiet for a second. Ebby?
Yes?
Though it frightens me to say it, I think I figured out who you are.
Who am I?
No response.
Niam. Niam.
Are you calling out loud, or is this all in your mind?
Just in my mind.
Okay. You can feel a presence. A presence that I think you felt it more back when you were adventuring with the group before, when Niam would talk to you randomly, that you've kind of learned to be without over the last 5 years. And suddenly now that Niam has spoken to you again, you feel it again. You feel this presence in the back of your brain. Not powerful, not strong, not even, aware or conscious, but you feel that there is that feeling in the back of your brain, back of your mind, that Niam is with you. Okay, and the short rest ends, and you are all in the castle of Taybury. And you know that Kira would like to speak with you all before you do whatever it is you're going to do.
I think this sword would be amazing for me if it was just lighter and a little bit more quick, because it's like the perfect commander's sword. If I had this sword, I would rename it. I would rename it the Menarest Lieutenant General's Saber, Level 3.
Well, perhaps it merits a trip up into the mountains to see the smith in the Tallheart camp again.
I wonder if he could do that. Before it was just kind of, the work he did was kind of combining two like weapons. This would be, hogging off a lot of material.
He does seem very talented. I imagine he could perform such a feat.
On our way there, do you guys mind if we stop by Arkelvy for a minute? I would like to go to the temple there.
I think we need to stop by Arkelvy and see what's going on there in general. Speaking of.
Yeah.
Let's go discuss what's to be done with this delegation. These opportunists, false flag raisers.
You go into the Great Hall. You can see that Kira is sitting in the throne of Taybury's castle, not her small hall that you've been in before. This is the official Great Hall where delegations would meet. You can see that Beatrice is standing at her shoulder. You can see that she has guards along the wall. You can see that Hebo and Brinby, as well as Brioc, are there. You can see that Angus is there as well. And Kira, as you walk in, she motions you forward and has you gather in some stools there in front of the throne for you guys to sit and have a council. Kira starts by saying, "It goes without saying that I appreciate all you have done for Taybury to get rid of this adjudicator and bailiff problem that had beset us of late. And for all of your help in all that you've done so far in dealing with Arkelvy, as well as protecting my life from those cultists. I feel I owe you more than I can ever say." And then she looks over at one of the guards and she nods as he opens up a door on the eastern wall and he says something to somebody on the other side. And then in from that other door, you see two servants come in carrying a very large chest. Roos, between you and me, having been the king, you know that Taybury is not a wealthy country.
Okay.
They bring this chest in and they set it down in front of you. And Kira says, "I feel I owe you for saving Taybury, and this is all I can offer." And then she opens the chest, and inside it is full of gold and platinum.
Taybury is our home. I don't think any of us require any payment for protecting what we hold dear.
as you slip the +1 mithril breastplate kind of behind your back. You're like, but we'll keep this.
I mean, finders keepers. Dead
Right,
people
right.
losers.
Kira, to be honest, I mean, if simply the spoils of this last battle would be plenty for us, and not even all of them. We procured a lot of armaments from the battle at the Keggery that I'm sure that the city could make use of. We have armaments of the Adjudicatorium that are of great value, and we would take them from your city so that they no longer attract potential threats or attacks from other adjudicators or other bailiffs. That's payment enough. Use this money and use the other resources that have been gained over the past couple of days to rebuild, to pay for more like Hebo and Brinby and Banaka. What's your name? Briok. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Briok. I've called you the little lightning sword guy for so long. But pay for more trusted soldiers like them. My daughter will return, and with her, some air support.
Well, your daughter's actually still here in the river.
Right, well, she's gonna wait for them and then she'll leave and whatever. But she will come to
She's
you.
gonna be waiting a long time if she's waiting for them.
She will come to you, though. And you have first dibs on her service. She's an amazing airship captain, and her ship looks to have been one of the battle fleet of the Empire. Use this money to procure her services as well.
She says, your words are wise. I appreciate your integrity. And then she closes the chest, and she motions to the servants, and they come and pick up the chest, and they take it away.
Sounds a little bit like nepotism, IMHO, but you know.
Have you ever met a better airship captain than her? Come on.
You were pretty good when you were piloting for us.
I couldn't have landed on the river. Come on.
Yes, it was very, very impressive.
She is very skilled, but can she be trusted? I mean, I know that she's your daughter, Pine. I just don't know if I can fully accept that is trustworthy in this way.
She doesn't seem dedicated to the cause necessarily, but she seems very, very trustworthy to those who she sells her services to.
She will be dedicated to the contract. Of that, I am certain.
Sis, I got one recommendation for you too. Like Mr. Pine was saying, you should bring on these 3 gentlemen, but not only that, knight them, create some order within the kingdom where these are the exemplar heroes and that the rest of the town look up to. Give them command over units. You can really build a prestigious thing under these 3 guys.
And Brinby, I know that you've kind of been there, done that here in Arklevy, but obviously, look how exciting it's gotten over the past few years. I mean, you wouldn't be bored here.
Yeah, Brinby nods and he says, yes, I mean, things have definitely gotten more exciting over the last couple of days. And if things are brewing with Arklevy, I think that our queen will need as many hands on deck as she can. And he looks to Kira and she smiles at him, as they have been allies in the past. And Hebo nods in agreement and doesn't say anything. And he has talked in the past. I just can't remember his voice. I think he's just kind of like gruff, like this. Anyway, and then
So he takes a bite out of crime.
he takes a bite out of crime. He's like,
That's
like
McGruff.
gruff. Yeah. Yeah, no, Hebo's like, yeah, I can stay on. You know, I could help out here for a little longer. I mean, Kira's an old companion in arms, so yeah, I'll help out too. And then Briok just kind of nods and he says, it would be interesting to lead forces again. And he leaves it at that.
Well, I think maybe, Kira, you may have a marshal and a couple lieutenant generals here if you were so inclined.
I shall think on it.
And nothing would help us more than upping the stats of the city guard.
Yes.
Yeah, they
You
need to
guys
be better
definitely
than
did
CR 1/4.
Yeah.
When I come back, I expect them to be challenge rating 3 veterans.
Or knights, yes. So Kira says, what would you recommend I do about Ambassador Miro and his contingent here in town. You are convinced that it was Arkelvy that sent the attackers upon me?
Well, I think open hostilities might not be the best thing. So I don't know if you move against them or not, but I don't think you have to accommodate them either.
As I travel to Arkelvy, I'm going to stop by every single tavern, and I'm going to start spreading the rumor that the king of Arkelvy had the other kingdom's throne murdered, and that's how he took over. So I'm going to start spreading that rumor, regardless if it's true or not.
And I can write tracts.
Yes.
Ooh, we're good at those. I mean, you're good at those. I can't. I don't even know how to write a tract like that.
Oh, Ebby, you did a great job. Shut up.
Oh.
Shut up, you.
Shut up. Pine wouldn't have made it very far without his Ebby. That was supposed to be Frodo and Sam, but...
Yes, I got that. Aww.
My heart melted.
Yes. So Kira asks, she says, so you're going to Arkelvy, that's your plan?
Well, we've just kind of thrown around some ideas.
Yeah.
I think first, if we were to lay out our plans, I think first we go and we see about collecting the illegal. Illegal.
Yeah, illegal.
You know, it probably is time for me to go back to the Kilava and see the people as well.
I'm sure they'd love to see you. You're the great liberator.
I don't know about that. But I do feel like it's been far too long, and I owe it to them to at least check in.
And then if we could take the airship, we had, again, potentially stops along the way to Arkelvy. We were hoping to see a master smith that we knew of in the Glass Mountains about doing something with these weapons to make them less recognizable and potentially more usable for us.
Yeah, his name was Darden. I just remembered it. Darden the Black.
Darden. Yes, that's right. Darden. I remember saying that I would never forget his name, and it just came back to me. Darden.
So, see your people, she nods at Ebby, and then head into the mountains and then to Arkelvy. That is your plan. You can see her shoulders kind of slump a little bit. She says, I will miss all of you. And she looks at each of you in turn. And anyone who wants to make an insight or perception check can make that insight or perception check.
Pine rolled an 8.
She will miss your guidance. Oh.
Nari rolled a 10, so she's going to assume that she's just going to miss me the most.
Roos got a 26.
Ebby rolled a 24 for insight.
Okay. Roos and Ebby, Nari's right. As Kira looks at each of you in turn, you see the respect she has for Pine as a leader and as an ambassador. She sees the love. You see the love that she has for Roos, her brother, even though it's more cousin, I think, actually, but raised as a brother. You see the love that has developed between the two of you when you guys had a pretty rough relationship at the start of this campaign. You can see the respect she has for Ebby, for all that Ebby has done for the Ormax, for the Deacons, for freeing them. And you see that her gaze lingers on Nari a little bit longer than everybody else. And Kira says, well, I wish you a safe journey. And she looks at you, Nari, and she says, and I would appreciate if there's anything that you can do to help me with Arkelvy, or if there's anything that I can do to help you, that you call me. And she kind of reaches her hand kind of inside of her jacket and just pats her chest. And you know that she's got that sending stone up there against her heart.
I will always be in touch.
And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight. The knock on the solar door rouses King Tenor from his thoughts. Enter, he calls as he shifts his weight on the soft, upholstered sofa. The dark wood door opens to reveal a thin young woman in the livery of Arkelvy, a white unicorn rampant upon a royal purple doublet. The young page bows formally toward her king and, without rising from the bow, says in a timid voice, Your Grace, the Chamberlain has asked to see you on a matter of great import. Shall I show her in? Yes, yes, Tenor says, hastily rising to his feet. The page turns her back to her king before rising from her bow and quickly scurries back toward the door through which she entered. King Tenor, monarch of the Kingdom of Arkelvy and all of its holdings, including the newly acquired Terran's Duchy, begins to anxiously pace as he waits for his chamberlain to deliver the news for which he has so desperately waited. A moment later, a tall, thin, pale-skinned woman enters the solar, shutting the door behind her. Your Grace, she says in a raspy, hoarse voice, bowing her head, I received a sending from Ambassador Miro's retinue about the situation in Taybury. Come, out with it, he urges. He turns and walks to a cabinet along the richly adorned wood-trimmed wall, here in his private suites in Mason's Keep. He opens the door, pulling out a decanter with a dark brown liquid inside. He follows that up with 2 glasses before closing the cabinet. As he pours 2 drinks, the chamberlain makes her report. The false queen is a stubborn one, Your Grace. I fear we underestimated her, as we did Vonnet in Wayfield. The attack was thwarted, it would seem. Okay, King Tenor prods impatiently. We have contingencies for this sort of thing. Yes, Your Grace, we do. The chamberlain pauses. 2 problems have arisen. First, Ambassador Miro has not been granted any kind of audience with this Kira who calls herself queen, in spite of his best attempts. He has been shut out completely, not even allowed to offer condolences for the attack, nor to suggest a concerted effort with our kingdom to root out the nefarious cult that sought her life. At this, King Tenor grunts. We spent a lot of money to get our hands on that Thu, Chamberlain, Tenor replies angrily. The plan was, should they succeed in killing the queen, we offer to take whichever leadership remains in place under our wing and root out the cult of inevitability, as we did in Terran's protectorate. Should they fail to kill her, we impress upon the queen and the need to work together to root out the cult, again offering our strength for a foothold in their territory. Tenor gulps down the drink in one quick swallow. But now you're telling me that not only did this expensive, risky plan only work once and not thrice as you claimed it would, but that our ambassador has been shut out again? Tenor's voice rises as the anger takes hold. Do they think we are a joke? The chamberlain averts her gaze down toward the floor as the king's angry words wash over her. She does not shrink from his tone, having grown accustomed to his fits of rage. Instead, she waits for him to go quiet before she walks over to the cabinet and grabs the second glass poured by the king. She too drinks it down in one quick motion. Your Grace, she says after finishing her drink, that was only the first problem. The second is potentially worse. There was a survivor taken into custody. Someone survived the Thu? The king asks incredulously. No, she replies. It seems he never took it. He backed out. They may be able to trace him to Silas, and from Silas to me. And if they can trace it to me... They will trace it to me, King Tenor finishes. Just so, Your Grace. Tenor is silent for a moment, chewing his lip. Then, having reached a decision, he pours 2 more drinks, handing the chamberlain's glass back to her. Spread the word around the city, into Terran's Duchy and beyond. Let it be known that I, too, was the target of one of these cult attacks, but was saved by the bravery of my personal bodyguards. Let it be known from here to Taybury and beyond that we have traced the orders given to these cultists back to Taybury and their false queen. She orchestrated these attacks to weaken the former Arkelvy province so that she might take control while the other countries try and recover from these attacks. He looks the chamberlain in the eye as he states emphatically, Let it be known that we will not stand for this underhanded attempt to destroy our sovereignty, and we will meet this attack with force. He drains his cup once more. Let it be known that the Kingdom of Arkelvy declares war on Taybury's treacherous queen. The chamberlain drains her glass as well. It will be as you say, Your Grace.
Ooh.
Okay, you guys, hey, what a great episode. I just want to let everybody who's listening know that we have now at this point reached level 9. All right.
Spring break.
So next time we get, oh my gosh, spring break. Yes. So next time we get together, we will be doing actually a little in between chapters thing that we have done in the past. And then the week afterwards, we will be starting up in chapter 6 of the Crystal Codex campaign. So if you like what we're doing, tweet or whatever people are doing these days. I don't even know. TikTok about it. I guess people are doing the TikTok thing.
TikTok about it.
Yeah, go ahead and TikTok about the campaign.
It.
Yeah. And until we see you next time, we hope you have A great time.
Throw it on your MySpace.
Oh my god, yes! Protest is
Oh,
one of your
man.
BFFs.
That's right, top
Oh.
8.
Oh, man.
Oh.